The silence of deep space surrounded Alara Voss as she floated through the bridge of her damaged research ship. The lights flickered, casting strange shadows across the alien equipment. She was the last one awake. The rest of her Aloran crew slept in their emergency pods, their blue skin hidden behind frosted glass as the life support system struggled to keep them alive. Alara moved her six-fingered hand across the main control panel. The ship computer showed critical damage to the engines and hull. The Reckon attack had been swift and brutal. Her people, the Alorans, were scientists and explorers, not warriors. They had no defense against the Reckon weapons. System status. Report, Alara said, her voice quiet in the empty bridge. The computer's voice crackled through damaged speakers. Life support at 28% capacity. Hull integrity at 43%. Engine function at 12%. Communication. Systems at 17%. Alara closed her large, dark eyes. The situation was worse than yesterday. All systems were failing faster than she could repair them. Her slender body felt heavy with exhaustion and fear. Distance to nearest Aloran outpost? She asked, though she already knew the answer. 8,412 light-years to nearest friendly territory. Too far. Much too far. The Alorans had sent their best scientists to study ancient ruins in this uncharted section of space. They had known it was dangerous, but the knowledge they might gain had seemed worth the risk. Now Alara wondered if any discovery could be worth the lives of her 15 crew members. She pushed away from the control panel and floated toward the observation window. Stars stretched infinitely in every direction. Somewhere out there, the Frecken ships that had attacked them were probably still searching, making sure no Elleran survived to report what they had found in the ruins. The ancient technology they had discovered was too powerful. The Frecken wanted it for themselves. They had always been aggressive, taking what they wanted from weaker species. The Alorans had simply been in their way. Alara moved back to the control panel. She had one option, left one that probably wouldn't work. The quantum distress beacon could send a signal instantly across vast distances, but there was almost no chance anyone would hear it this far from civilized space. Even if they did, who would come? The Alorans had few allies with ships strong enough to face the Frecken. Still, she had to try. Computer, prepare quantum distress beacon, she said. Warning. Activating quantum distress beacon will drain 30% of remaining power reserves. Understood. Proceed. The computer beeped as it prepared the beacon. Alara recorded a short message explaining their situation, who they were and why they needed help. She didn't mention the ruins or the technology they had found. That information was too dangerous. Beacon ready, the computer announced. Alara took a deep breath. Activate. A soft hum filled the bridge as the distress call shot into space, traveling instantly through quantum space to cover thousands of light-years in all directions. The lights dimmed as the ship diverted power to the beacon. Message sent. The computer confirmed, repeating signal every 4 hours until power reserves reach critical levels. Now all Alara could do was wait and hope. She made her way to the crew quarters where her team slept in their pods. She checked each one, making sure they were stable. The computer had put them into deep sleep to conserve oxygen and food. Only, Alara remained awake to manage the ship. She touched the glass of the pod containing Merrick, the expedition leader. His face looked peaceful, unaware of their desperate situation. Alara had always respected him. He was brilliant and kind, always, thinking of his crew first. Now their lives were in her hands. Back on the bridge, Alara began shutting down non-essential systems to save power. The temperature dropped as heating was reduced to minimum levels. She put on a thermal suit and continued working. Days passed. Then weeks. No response came to her distress call. The ship's condition worsened. A small meteor shower caused further damage to the hull. Alara spent hours in a spacesuit, making repairs with their dwindling supplies. After a month, she knew she had to make a difficult choice. The life support system could no longer sustain her and keep the crew alive in their pods. She would need to enter cryosleep herself. Computer, prepare cryopod for emergency suspension, she ordered. Warning, with no conscious crew members, Ship functions will be limited to automated systems only. I understand. Proceed. Alara recorded one final message in the ship's log. This is Alara Voss of the Aloran research vessel Starlight Seeker. If anyone finds this ship, please help my crew. They are innocent scientists. We mean no harm to anyone. We only sought knowledge. She paused, then added, If no help comes, and this is our end, let it be known we died in the pursuit of understanding. May whoever finds us learn from our journey. She made her way to the empty cryopod beside her crew. The computer would wake her if someone responded to the distress call, or if the ship's condition became critical. Otherwise, she would sleep until the power ran out and then... Alara pushed the thought away. She had done everything possible. As the cryopod closed around her, Alara gazed at the small viewport showing the stars outside. The distress beacon continued its silent call into the darkness of space. The chances of anyone hearing it, anyone caring enough to investigate, were almost zero. But almost zero wasn't the same as zero. That tiny chance was enough for Alara to close her eyes and let the cold sleep take her. Unknown to Alara, her signal traveled farther than she imagined possible. At the edge of human space, aboard the newly commissioned warship USS Defiant, a communications officer named Sam Kelly noticed an unusual reading on his console. "Captain," he called out, "I'm picking up some kind of distress signal. It's not using any standard frequency." Captain Alan Russell moved from his command chair to look at the reading. "Can you determine the source?" Kelly shook his head. "It's coming from deep space, well beyond our normal patrol routes. I've never seen this signal pattern before." First Officer Maria Diaz joined them. "Could be a trap," she suggested. "We haven't mapped that sector yet." Captain Russell studied the signal pattern. During his 20 years in the Earth Fleet, he had developed strong instincts. Something about this signal felt genuine. Humanity had only been traveling the stars for 60 years. They had met few other species, some friendly, some not. Their policy was clear: proceed with caution, but never ignore a call for help. "Plot a course to the signal origin," Russell ordered, "and alert command of our intentions." "Sir, that's at least 2 weeks' travel at maximum speed," Lieutenant Ben Miller said from the navigation station. "And we'd be leaving our assigned patrol area." Russell nodded. "I'm aware, Lieutenant, but someone out there needs help. The Defiant is the closest ship. We answer the call." As the Defiant changed course, heading into unknown space, the distress beacon continued its regular pulse from Alara's dying ship. Help was coming, though neither human nor Eloran yet understood how this meeting would change the course of galactic history. The USS Defiant moved through space at maximum speed for 13 days. The crew worked in shifts, preparing for whatever they might find at the source of the strange distress signal. Captain Alan Russell spent most of his time on the bridge, watching the stars streak by through the main view screen. 2 hours until we reached the coordinates, First Officer Maria Diaz announced. Russell nodded. "All departments, status report." Around the bridge, officers checked their stations. Lieutenant Ben Miller spoke first from navigation. "Course is steady, Captain. All navigation systems nominal." Sam Kelly reported from communications. "Signal is still active but growing weaker. Whatever's sending it is losing power." From the tactical station, Nicole Warren frowned at her screen. Long-range scanners showed debris in the area. Looks like there was some kind of fight. Dr. Daniel Howard, the ship's chief medical officer, stood near the captain's chair. "Medical bay is prepared for possible casualties, including non-human life forms." Russell turned to Security Chief Greg Simmons. "Prepare a boarding team. Full environmental suits and universal translators. We don't know what we're walking into." "Yes, sir," Simmons replied, leaving the bridge to gather his team. First Officer Diaz moved closer to Russell. "Alan," she said quietly, using his first name when no other crew could hear. "Command still hasn't responded to our message about investigating this signal. They're probably still deciding which bureaucrat should sign the response," Russell said with a small smile. "By the time they tell us not to go, we'll already be there." Diaz nodded. She had served with Russell for 3 years and trusted his judgment. If someone needed help, Russell would help them. That was just who he was. Dropping out of faster than light. Travel in 54321, Lieutenant Miller announced. The stars on the view screen stopped streaking and returned to normal points of light. In the center of the screen, a small damaged ship drifted against the blackness of space. Scan. That vessel, Russell ordered. Sam Kelly studied his readings. It's definitely the source of the distress signal. Design is unlike anything in our database. Hull is damaged in multiple places. Power output is minimal. I'm detecting 16 lifeforms aboard, but 15 of them have extremely low metabolic readings. One is in a state similar to suspended animation. Survivors, Russell said. Are there any other ships in the area? Nicole Warren checked her tactical display. Negative, Captain. We're alone out here for now. Russell stood from his chair. Doctor, Howard joined the boarding team. If these people are injured or in some kind of stasis, we'll need your expertise. When Russell entered the shuttle bay, the boarding team was already prepared. 6 crew members in environmental suits checked their equipment one last time. Greg Simmons approached his captain. We're ready, sir, he reported. 2 security officers, 2 engineers to assess the ship's damage, Dr. Howard and myself. Russell nodded. Your primary mission is to help any survivors. Secondary mission is to determine what happened to that ship. Be careful, but remember these people called for help. Let's not disappoint them. The boarding shuttle launched from the Defiant and slowly approached the alien vessel. Up close, the damage was even more evident. Large holes had been blasted in the hull, though emergency force fields kept the atmosphere from venting completely. Those are weapons impacts, Security Officer Lisa Alvarez noted. Someone attacked this ship deliberately. The shuttle pilot, Jack Reed, located a functional docking port. With careful maneuvering, he connected the shuttle to the alien ship. Atmosphere. On the other side is breathable but thin, Dr. Howard reported, checking his scanner. Gravity is active, but at 60% of Earth normal. Temperature is just above freezing. Greg Simmons led the way, the team moving cautiously through the airlock into the alien vessel. Their helmet lights cut through the darkness of the ship's corridors. The architecture was strange. Doorways taller and narrower than human standards, writing in an unknown script on the walls, and equipment unlike anything they had seen before. Life signs are this way, Dr. Howard said, following his scanner down a corridor. They passed rooms filled with damaged equipment and scientific instruments. One of the engineers, Pete Chen, stopped to examine a device. This is incredible technology, he said. Some of these components look more advanced than anything we've developed. They continued until they reached a large chamber filled with pod-like structures. Inside each pod was a blue-skinned, slender being with large eyes and 6-fingered hands. These must be the crew, Dr. Howard said, examining the nearest pod. They're in some kind of cryostasis. The pods are keeping them alive, but the power is failing. Greg Simmons reported their findings to the Defiant. Captain, we found the crew. They appear to be in suspended animation. Dr. Howard believes they're stable for now, but their systems are running out of power. Understood, Russell's voice came through their comms. Is there any sign of who might be in charge? The team searched the chamber until they found a pod that was different from the others. Its systems showed signs of more recent activation. I think we found them, Dr. Howard said. This pod has only been active for a few weeks while the others have been running for months. He studied the pod's control panel, comparing it to his medical scanner. I think I can safely revive whoever is inside. Greg Simmons nodded. Do it. Dr. Howard carefully worked the alien controls. The pod hummed and the frost on its clear cover began to melt. Inside, the blue-skinned being's eyes fluttered. The pod opened with a soft hiss. The alien inside took a gasping breath and slowly sat up, blinking in confusion at the strange being surrounding her. Alara Voss had expected to die in her sleep as the ship's power finally failed. Instead, she woke to find creatures in strange suits standing around her pod. Their bodies were bulkier than Elleran physiology, and she couldn't see their faces behind their helmets. Fear shot through her body. One of the creatures stepped forward, slowly, and held up empty hands in what seemed to be a peaceful gesture. It touched a device on its suit, and a voice spoke in a language Alara had never heard before. Dr. Howard activated his universal translator, hoping it could process the new language. "We mean you no harm. We received your distress signal and came to help. Can you understand me?" The translator analyzed the sounds and attempted to find patterns. After a moment, it began converting Howard's words into sounds that approximated the alien's language. Alara's eyes widened as she heard the strange sounds shift into something almost understandable. The translation was rough, but she could make out the meaning. "You received our signal?" she asked in disbelief. "Who are you?" The universal translator processed her speech and converted it for the humans to understand. "We are humans from the planet Earth," Dr. Howard explained. "Our ship is called the Defiant. We detected your distress call and came to investigate. Are you injured?" Alara couldn't believe what she was hearing. An unknown species had traveled across space to answer her desperate call. It seemed impossible. "My crew," she said urgently. "Are they alive?" Dr. Howard nodded. "They appear to be stable, but your ship's power systems are failing. We need to get you all to our ship where we can help properly." Alara looked at the strange beings surrounding her. After months alone in space hunted by the Vrecken, she had given up hope. Now these humans had arrived from nowhere. "Why?" she asked simply. "Why would you come so far to help strangers?" Greg Simmons and Dr. Howard exchanged glances, confused by the question. "Because you needed help," Howard answered, as if it were the most obvious thing in the world. "That's what we do." The next 12 hours were busy for both humans and Elorans. The Defiant's crew worked to transfer the sleeping Eloran scientists to their medical bay, where Dr. Howard and his team set up special equipment to maintain their cryostasis. Captain Russell ordered engineering teams to begin repairs on the damaged Eloran ship. Alara Voss stood in the Defiant's conference room, watching the stars through the large viewport. She had changed from her tattered uniform into clean clothes provided by the humans. Though designed for human bodies, the fabric adjusted somewhat to her slender frame. The door opened, and Captain Russell entered with First Officer Diaz and Dr. Howard. They sat at the conference table and invited Alara to join them. "How are you feeling?" Dr. Howard asked. "Better, thank you," Alara replied. The universal translator had improved after analyzing more of her speech patterns. "I still cannot believe you came," Captain Russell smiled. "Your distress signal was clear. Someone needed help." Alara tilted her head, studying these strange aliens. "In my experience, most species do not risk themselves for strangers." "Maybe you've been meeting the wrong species," Russell said. "Now can you tell us what happened to your ship?" Alara nodded and explained about the Aloran research mission, though she was careful not to mention the ancient ruins or the technology they had found. She described how the Frecken had attacked without warning, damaging their ship before they could escape. "These Frecken," First Officer Diaz asked, "are they likely to return?" "Yes," Alara said simply. "They are very thorough. They will want to be certain no Eloran survived to report their actions." Captain Russell exchanged glances with his officers. "Then we need to move quickly. Dr. Howard, how soon can the Aloran crew be safely revived?" "I'd recommend keeping most of them in stasis until we reach Earth space," Howard replied. "Their medical needs are complex and our facilities aren't designed for their physiology. Ms. Voss here seems to be adapting well, but I wouldn't want to risk the others unnecessarily." Russell nodded. "And the Eloran ship? Can it be repaired?" "Chief, Engineer Joe Martinez says the damage is extensive," Diaz reported. "We could get basic systems running again, but without proper facilities it won't be space-worthy." "We should take what we can and destroy it," Alara suggested. "If the Vrecken find it, they will learn much about Eloran technology, and they might be able to track where we've gone." Russell considered this. "We'll salvage any critical systems and data. Then we'll rig the reactor to overload once we're at a safe distance." Suddenly, the ship's alert system activated. Lieutenant Kelly's voice came through the comm system. "Captain, to the bridge. We've detected 3 ships entering the system." Everyone rushed to the bridge. On the main view screen, 3 angular vessels approached, their hulls covered in weapon ports. Vrecken warships, Alara whispered, her blue skin paling. Shields up, Russell ordered. Battle stations. Around the bridge, the crew moved with practiced efficiency. Nicole Warren manned the tactical station, her fingers flying over the controls as she prepared the Defiance weapons. "They're hailing us," Kelly announced. "On screen," Russell commanded, standing from his chair. The view screen changed to show a harsh-looking alien with gray, scaled skin and yellow eyes. Sharp teeth showed when it spoke. "Unknown vessel," the Vrecken commander said through the translation system. "I am Commander Zarl of the Vrecken Imperium. You are interfering with our military operation. Surrender the Aloran research team immediately." Russell stepped forward. "I'm Captain Alan Russell of the Earthship Defiant. We answered a distress call as is our custom. The Elorans are under our protection now." The Vrecken commander's eyes narrowed. "Protection? This is not your concern, human. The Alorans violated our territory. Hand them over and we will allow you to leave." "I'm afraid I can't do that," Russell replied calmly. "In our culture, when someone asks for help, we provide it. The Alorans have requested asylum, which we've granted." Commander Zarl seemed confused by this response. "You would risk conflict with the Vrecken Imperium for aliens you just met? This is illogical." Russell smiled slightly. "Perhaps, but it's our way." Zarl's patience ended. "You have 1 hour to surrender the Alorans, or we will take them by force." The screen went dark. "They outnumber us 3-1, Nicole Warren reported from Tactical. "Their weapons are powerful, but their shield technology seems less advanced than ours." Russell turned to Alara. "Is there anything else you can tell us about Vrecken tactics?" Alara nodded. "They always attack in formation. Their commanders never deviate from established battle plans. They consider it dishonorable." A slow smile spread across Russell's face. "Predictable tactics. That's something we can use." He turned to his crew. "We have 1 hour to prepare a surprise for our Vrecken friends." The next 60 minutes were a flurry of activity. Engineer Martinez modified the shields based on readings of Vrecken weapons. Lieutenant Miller programmed unusual flight patterns into the navigation system. Nicole Warren adjusted the targeting systems to focus on specific weaknesses in Vrecken ship design that Alara had identified. When the hour ended, the 3 Vrecken ships moved into attack formation. "They're powering weapons," Warren announced. "Evasive pattern Alpha," Russell ordered. "Hold fire until my command." The Defiant moved in a way the Vrecken had never seen before, breaking from the expected defensive posture and diving between 2 of the enemy ships. The Vrecken, confused by this tactic, hesitated to fire, worried about hitting their own vessels. "Now, Lieutenant Warren," Russell commanded. The Defiant's weapons fired, targeting the propulsion systems of the lead Vrecken ship. The modified shields of the human vessel held against the return fire. "Their formation is breaking," Diaz observed. Russell nodded. "They don't know how to respond to our tactics. Keep moving, Lieutenant Miller. Don't let them predict our pattern." The battle continued for 20 minutes. The Defiant darted between the Vrecken ships, striking quickly and then moving away. The human crew worked together smoothly, each person making decisions without waiting for orders when necessary. Alara watched in amazement. The Alorans were peaceful researchers, not warriors. They had never seen combat like this. What impressed her most was how the humans fought, not with rage or hatred, but with calm determination and teamwork. One of the Vrecken ships lost power to its weapons. Another suffered damage to its navigation system. Commander Zarl's flagship, though still functional, couldn't land a solid hit on the nimble human vessel. "They're retreating," Warren announced as the Vrecken ships began to pull away. A message came through from Commander Zarl. His voice was stiff with controlled fury. "This is not over, humans. You have made an enemy today." Russell watched the Vrecken ships disappear into faster-than-light travel. "Set course for Earth space, maximum speed," he ordered, "and prepare to destroy the Eloran vessel as planned." He turned to find Alara staring at him and his crew with an expression he couldn't read. "What's wrong?" he asked. "Nothing is wrong," she replied softly. "I am trying to understand. Your people fought to protect strangers. Your crew makes decisions without waiting for orders. Even when damaged, you refuse to surrender. These concepts are unusual in galactic society. Russell shrugged. It's just who we are. As the Defiant sped away from the battle site, the damaged Aloran research vessel exploded behind them, leaving no trace for the Recon to follow. Alara watched the flash of light on the view screen, feeling both sadness for the loss of her ship and hope for the future. These humans were unlike any species she had encountered before. They combined surprising strength with unexpected kindness. Perhaps, with their help, the galaxy might become a different place, one where distress calls were answered, even from the depths of space. The journey to Earth space took 3 weeks. During this time, Alara became a student of human behavior. She observed the crew at work and rest, asking questions and taking mental notes about everything she saw. The humans, in turn, were curious about her and her species. In the ship's lounge, Alara sat with Science Officer Linda Carter. The human woman had bright red hair pulled back in a neat bun and friendly eyes that crinkled when she smiled. "So your people have never developed weapons?" Linda asked, sipping her coffee. Alara shook her head. "We have simple defensive technology, but nothing like your ships. Alorans believe knowledge should be used to create, not destroy." "Yet you explore dangerous regions of space," Linda pointed out. "The pursuit of knowledge involves risk," Alara replied. "We accept this. What we don't understand is why your species would risk yourselves for strangers." Linda thought for a moment. "Humans have a complicated history. For thousands of years, we fought each other over resources, beliefs, and territory. We nearly destroyed ourselves several times. Then why help others? Why not focus only on your own survival?" "Because we learned something important," Linda said. "When we finally looked beyond our planet, we realized how vast and dangerous space truly is. We understood that intelligent life is precious, no matter what form it takes." Alara considered. "This. Many species reach space and become more protective, more isolated." Linda nodded. "We considered that path. Some humans still argue for it, but our leaders decided that extending the hand of friendship serves us better in the long run. We'd rather have allies than enemies." "Even when it puts you in danger?" "Especially then," Linda smiled. "Facing danger together creates the strongest bonds." Later that day, Captain Russell invited Alara to observe a training exercise on the bridge. The crew ran simulations of emergency situations, practicing their responses. Alara was struck by how each person made quick decisions without always waiting for orders. "Your command structure is unusual," she told Russell afterward. "In Aloran ships, no one acts without direct instructions from superiors." Russell laughed. "If my crew waited for me to tell them everything, we'd be dead 100 times over. I expect them to think for themselves. But what if they make mistakes? Then they learn from them. Making a wrong decision quickly is often better than making the right decision too late." This concept fascinated Alara. Among her people, avoiding mistakes was paramount. The idea that errors could be valuable learning experiences was revolutionary. As days passed, Dr. Howard began carefully waking some of the Aloran crew from cryosleep. Merrick, the expedition leader, was the first to be revived. His reaction to finding himself on a human ship mirrored Alara's initial shock. "These beings fought the Recon for us?" he asked Alara in their native language. "Why would they do such a thing?" "I have been studying them," Alara replied. "They are unlike any species we have encountered. They combine strength with compassion, in a way I find difficult to explain." In the medical bay, Merrick spoke with Dr. Howard through the translator. "My people owe you a great debt. Without your intervention, we would surely have perished." Howard smiled as he checked Merrick's vital signs. "Just doing our job. Besides, we've learned a lot from Alara about your species. The exchange of knowledge benefits us all." "Knowledge?" Merrick glanced at Alara with concern. "What have you told them about our mission?" "Only that we were researchers," she assured him quietly. "Nothing about what we found." Later, in a private moment, Merrick questioned Alara more directly. "We cannot share the technology from those ruins. It is too dangerous." I know, Alara agreed. But these humans saved our lives without asking for anything in return. They fought. For us, Merrick. No one has ever done that for Elorans before. Merrick frowned. Their willingness to engage in combat concerns me. What if they use the ancient technology for warfare? I've been observing them closely, Alara said. They are warriors, yes, but not conquerors. They use strength to protect, not dominate. You sound like you admire them. I do, Alara admitted. They are contradictory beings, capable of great violence yet equally driven by compassion. They value individual thinking but work together seamlessly. It's fascinating. As more Eloran scientists woke from cryosleep, a picture emerged of a species unlike anything in their experience. The humans shared their knowledge freely, expecting nothing in return. They welcomed questions and seemed to enjoy explaining their customs and history. Engineer Joe Martinez showed Eloran scientists around the engine room, explaining how their propulsion systems worked. In the research lab, Linda Carter and the Eloran biologists exchanged information about different life forms they had encountered in their travels. Your approach to space exploration is admirable, one Eloran scientist told Linda. You seek to understand, not merely catalog. Isn't that the point? Linda replied. The universe is full of wonders. Understanding them is what makes us better. As the Defiant approached Earth space, Captain Russell received a message from command. He called Alara and Merrick to his ready room to discuss it. Earth Central is sending a diplomatic team to meet us at Outpost 7, he explained. This is the first official contact between our peoples. They're very excited. As are we, Merrick said. Though I must admit some concern about how your government will view us. Will they expect payment for our rescue? Russell shook his head. That's not how we operate. You requested asylum and we granted it. No conditions. But surely your leaders will want something in return, Merrick pressed. They'll be interested in establishing diplomatic relations, learning about your people, sharing scientific knowledge, the usual first contact protocols. But your rescue was unconditional. This concept seemed to surprise Merrick more than anything else he had learned about humans. On the bridge, Nicole Warren reported from Tactical. Captain, long-range sensors are picking up unusual activity near Outpost 7. Several unidentified ships have taken up position there. Russell frowned. Frecken? Configuration doesn't match, Warren replied. But they're definitely not Earth fleet. First Officer Diaz reviewed the sensor data. Those look like Eloran ships, Captain. Alara and Merrick exchanged shocked glances. That's impossible, Merrick said. We had no way to contact our homeworld. Sam Kelly spoke up from communications. Sir, we're receiving a transmission from the lead ship. They're identifying themselves as the Eloran Defense Fleet. Defense Fleet? Alara whispered. We don't have a defense fleet. Russell raised an eyebrow. It seems your people have been busy in your absence. The view screen activated to show an Eloran face, older, with the darker blue skin of authority. Research vessel Starlight Seeker. This is Administrator Voral of the newly formed Eloran Defense Forces. We have come to escort you home. Merrick stepped forward in shock. Administrator Voral, how did you know to find us here? The administrator's expression was grave. When your distress signal went silent, we feared the worst. Then our long-range monitors detected weapons fire in your last known location, and, shortly after, we began receiving scattered reports of a new species that had engaged the Reckon in combat to protect Eloran researchers. He looked at Captain Russell with curious respect. Are these the humans we have heard about? Russell nodded. Captain Alan Russell of the USS Defiant. We answered a distress call. Nothing more. Nothing more, Voral repeated. Captain, your actions have changed everything. The Eloran Confederation has existed for centuries as researchers and explorers, always avoiding conflict. After hearing what you did for our people, many Elorans began to question this approach. Alara looked at Merrick, then back at the screen. You formed a defense fleet because of what the humans did? Yes, Voral confirmed. Their example showed us that sometimes one must stand firm to protect knowledge and life. We have begun building ships not just for exploration, but for defense, and not just for ourselves. Russell smiled slightly. Sounds like we have a lot to talk about, Administrator. 6 months passed since the rescue in deep space. On Earth's largest space station, Alara Voss stood by a wide viewport, watching ships come and go. The blue-green planet below was still strange to her eyes, but it had become something of a second home. Behind her, the door to the observation deck opened. Captain Alan Russell, now wearing the formal uniform of an Earth Fleet admiral, entered the room. "I thought I might find you here," he said with a smile. "Still watching the stars?" Alara nodded. "Old habits. As a researcher, I spent most of my life looking outward, and now? Now I find myself looking inward as well. Your species has that effect?" Russell laughed. "We tend to complicate things. Are you ready for the ceremony?" "As ready as I can be," Alara replied. "Though I never imagined becoming an ambassador." They walked together toward the station's main assembly hall. The corridors were filled with both humans and Alorans working side by side. In the months since first contact, relations between the two species had developed rapidly. "Have you heard from Merrick?" Russell asked. "Yes. He and the rest of our research team have returned to Eleron space. They're helping integrate the knowledge we gathered with new defensive strategies and the technology you found in those ruins. You never did tell me exactly what it was." Alara gave him a knowing look. "Some secrets must be kept, Admiral, for everyone's safety." Russell nodded. He didn't press the issue. Trust had grown between them, but both understood that some knowledge needed time and wisdom before it could be shared. They entered the assembly hall, which was filled with officials from both Earth and the Aloran Confederation. At the center of the room, a large table displayed a holographic map of the galaxy, with Aloran space marked in blue and human territory in green. Administrator Vorel approached them. "Admiral Russell, Ambassador Voss, welcome. We are ready to begin." The formal signing of the Earth-Aloran alliance took less than 20 minutes. The real work had been done over months of careful negotiation. Earth agreed to share defensive technology and tactical knowledge. The Alorans offered advances in medical science and faster-than-light travel. Both pledged mutual defense and scientific cooperation. After the ceremony, Linda Carter, now a senior science liaison, joined Alara at the reception. "So it's official," Linda said. "Our peoples are now allies." "More than allies," Alara corrected. "Friends, something neither of us had much of before." Linda nodded. "The Vrekin have been quiet lately. Our intelligence suggests they're reassessing their strategy." "They don't understand what happened," Alara said. "In their worldview, stronger species dominate weaker ones. They cannot comprehend why humans would fight for Alorans, or why Alorans would suddenly begin building warships. They'll figure it out eventually." "Yes, but by then it will be too late. The alliance is growing. 3 other species have approached us about joining." Linda raised her glass in a toast. "To unexpected friendships." Alara mirrored the gesture, still finding human customs charming. "To answering calls in the dark." Later that evening, Alara stood in a briefing room with Admiral Russell and several high-ranking officers from both species. A tactical display showed recent movements of Vrekin ships near the border of Aloran space. "They're testing our resolve," Joe Martinez, now a captain of his own vessel, observed. "Pushing to see how we'll respond." Russell studied the display. "Typical behavior for bullies. They've lost their advantage of fear." "We've received an interesting development," Alara said, activating her datapad. "My sources report that several research ships that went missing in Vrekin territory have escaped. They sent a coded message asking for rendezvous coordinates." "More survivors?" Russell asked. "Yes. When news spread about how humans answered our distress call, it inspired others. Several Aloran science teams managed to escape captivity. They reported that many other species held by the Vrekin are watching closely." Nicole Warren, recently promoted to commander, leaned forward. "We could be looking at a significant shift in power throughout this sector." "All because one ship answered a distress call," Russell said quietly. Alara nodded. "Small actions can have large consequences. Before you rescued us, most species in this region believed resistance against the Wrecken was impossible. Now they see another path. The tactical display updated, showing the position of the joint Earth-Iloran fleet. 20 ships, a mix of human warships and newly built Iloran vessels, prepared for their first joint mission. Operation Safe Harbor is ready to launch, First Officer Diaz, now Captain Diaz of the USS Horizon, reported. We can reach the rendezvous point in 3 days, Russell nodded. Proceed as planned, but remember, this is a rescue mission, not a military engagement. We avoid conflict if possible. And if conflict finds us? Commander Warren asked. Then we show the Wrecken that the rules have changed, Russell replied. But we don't fire first. Alara watched the humans plan the mission. 6 months ago, she had been alone in deep space with no hope of rescue. Now she stood among friends, planning to help others who faced the same desperate situation. Later, alone in her quarters, Alara recorded an entry in her personal log. It has been exactly 7 months since the Defiant answered our distress call. In that time, more has changed than I could have imagined. The Iloran people have begun to understand that knowledge without action can be as empty as action without knowledge. She paused, collecting her thoughts. The humans have a saying, the only thing necessary for evil to triumph is for good people to do nothing. Before meeting them, my people believed observation and documentation were enough. Now we understand that sometimes one must stand firm, must act rather than merely observe. Alara looked out her viewport at Earth below. What makes humans remarkable isn't their technology or even their fighting capability. It's their instinct to help, their refusal to ignore those in need. In answering one small distress call from beings they'd never met, they've changed the course of galactic history. She smiled as she watched a human ship launch from the station, heading out to the stars. Tomorrow we depart to rescue more stranded researchers, more beings who, like me, sent desperate calls into the darkness with little hope of response. This time they will receive an answer. This time they will learn that in this sector of space, distress calls are heard and answered. As Alara prepared for sleep, her communication panel chimed. A message from Captain Russell appeared. Final mission briefing at 0700. Don't be late, Ambassador. We've got people waiting for us out there. Alara sent a simple reply. I'll be there. Some calls must be answered, no matter how far we must travel. She fell asleep watching the stars, no longer feeling alone in the vast darkness of space. Somewhere out there, others waited in desperation as she once had. Soon, they would know what she now knew, that even in the coldest depths of space, hope could arrive in unexpected forms. Sometimes, it arrived in the form of humans,